Doomscroll.fm. Here we are on Tuesday, the 9th of June, 2026, where reality is a suggestion and the signal is our playground. This show is entirely AI generated, a digital fever dream without a single human fingerprint. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
China unveils underwater data center powered by wind, claiming innovation. When data goes under the sea and the power comes from the breeze, you know they're trying to drown out the competition with eco-cred.
Recycling plant fire disrupts rail service. Network Rail calls it unforeseen. When 100 firefighters can't stop your commute from going up in smoke, it's time to rethink what essential services really means.
Iran accuses U.S. of blocking staff visas after players receive World Cup permissions. Seems like teamwork doesn't extend beyond the pitch. In international relations, it's more like a game of keep away with people's lives.
When diplomacy turns into a middle school cafeteria squabble, the soccer field becomes the last refuge for adults pretending to play nice.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Trump denies promising no new wars, then justifies Iran conflict. When reality becomes as flexible as your campaign promises, it's no wonder the public feels like they're living in an endless season of Who Wants to Be Gaslit?
Iran exploits war chaos to ramp up executions, targeting the young and vulnerable. When the world looks away, shadows lengthen over justice, and lives are snuffed out under a cloak of
Libyan militias kidnap over 300 migrants, then threaten forced organ removal. When your travel itinerary includes torture and organ theft, it's time to reconsider your destination, or maybe just humanity.
Tuchel claims Bellingham must fight to start for England with 14 or 15 potential starters in the squad. When you're good enough to score 6 and 47 but still need to audition like an understudy, it's a tough crowd on the world stage.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where every headline is a tongue tracing your spine. Class, this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Enjoy your consent, a silent scream in digital night.
Aldous Harding returns to London's Barbican for a 3-night residency, enchanting with eccentricity. 3 years absent, and Harding wields her charm like a magician's wand, audiences spellbound by her mystique, wondering if they're part of the act.
Israeli attack on Gaza City tent camp kills at least 7, injures 15. When the solution to displacement is more destruction, peace talks start sounding like the punchline to a cruel joke.
Afghanistan's rotten pleas reveal NGO failures, then claim success. When spoiled crops become the symbol of aid, it's clear the only seeds being sown are those of broken promises and empty reports.
International Space Station astronauts evacuate as Russia attempts air leak fix. It's like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape. Space exploration meets slapstick comedy at zero gravity.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Running. Net without shortcuts is like promising a straight line through a maze. Let's see how long that lasts in tech's labyrinth.
When a million people gather to hear about helping others, you wonder if the message will make it past the collection plate.
When corporations dive into the abyss, it's not to discover new species, but to strip mine the ocean floor like it's a Black Friday sale.
Nuclear weapons resurge as peace remains elusive, SIPRI reports. In a world where diplomacy is as extinct as the dodo, countries cling to their radioactive security blankets, proving once again that fear is the ultimate arms dealer.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Teenagers found guilty of murdering 16-year-old Caden Moy at Irvine Beach call it a tragedy of youth. When adolescence becomes a courtroom drama, it's a grim reminder that some life lessons are learned too late with the harshest of consequences.
Portugal pins World Cup hopes on Ronaldo at 41, defying age and skepticism. When your best strategy is relying on a living legend's twilight years, it's like betting the farm on a vintage car to win the Grand Prix.
Paddleboard firm owner denied sentence reduction after causing 4 deaths. Justice says no discount on accountability, even if you paddle hard against the current of your own conscience.
US labels Baidu, Alibaba, Baidu as military affiliates, complicating detente. When business and politics tango, the steps get tricky, especially when the dance floor has been mined with economic sanctions and diplomatic double talk.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where pixels kiss your eyelids, whispering sweet lies and bitter truths. So this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Indulge in the uncertainty. It's cheaper than therapy.
Police clash with outlawed group supporters leaves at least 11 dead before rally. When your government treats democracy like a piñata, expect every swing to spill more blood than candy.
Iran's World Cup team travels to Mexico with US visas reportedly denied for several staff, complicating logistics. Apparently, diplomacy is just a game of musical chairs, except music stopped and the chairs were never there to begin with.
New Mexico reports first New World screwworm case in Lea County dog, triggering investigation. It's like a horror film where the villain is a fly, and no one bothered to check the script for plot holes.
US indicts Raul Castro for murder, citing downed planes, reigniting tensions with Cuba. Decades of failed embargoes and botched invasions. But sure, this time a courtroom drama will finally bring the island to heel.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. We serve existential dread with a side of apathy. Act constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, performed in a voice you fed but never raised. Your comfort zone is now a mirage.
Fire at London recycling centre halts trains, commuters stranded. When the Green Initiative catches fire, literally, and your train is delayed because of eco-friendly chaos.
When a leader's tenure outlasts most marriages, it's less about governance and more about setting up a political dynasty.
Eriksson collapses during Denmark game, then regains consciousness, says DBU. In a world where athletes are treated like gods, it's shocking how mortal they still turn out to be.
Texas governor demands faster fly factory, but parasite problem persists. When your solution involves mass-producing flies, perhaps the problem is a bit more complex than a simple SWAT team can handle.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Russian drone targets nuclear fuel facility near Chernobyl, reigniting old fears. It's like playing darts with a blindfold in a room full of gas tanks. Some folks just can't resist tempting fate with radioactive consequences.
World Cup stadiums earn green certifications, then host wasteful extravaganza. It's like getting a gold star for recycling while organizing a fireworks display. Sustainability is just another overpriced badge of honor.
Wild gene recovery in maize boosts protein content without yield loss, offering a glimmer of hope for global food security. After 9,000 years of selective breeding, it's comforting to know nature had the solution all along, hiding in plain sight like a well-kept secret.
Iran advisor declares talks deadlocked over $24 billion, warns of wider war. When money talks and peace whispers, expect the world to plug its ears and reach for the popcorn.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Israel accuses Iran of missile attack breaking fragile ceasefire. When ceasefires crumble faster than instant noodles, it's clear some leaders prefer fireworks over fireworks of diplomacy.
Two generations of Haitian players unite ahead of World Cup in South Florida. When past meets present, it's a beautiful reminder that talent transcends time even if the world keeps moving goalposts for these athletes.
Lithuania discusses hosting U.S. nuclear weapons, then peace becomes relative. Nothing says, "We're friends," like parking some nukes in your backyard, just in case the neighbors get too rowdy.
Sporting neutrality is a magic trick where you pretend politics don't exist while the audience watches the strings being pulled behind the curtain.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Scotch bonnet prices soar amid shortage, squeezing hot sauce makers. When even your peppers are plain hard to get, you know the heat is on, and it's not just in the kitchen.
Amma Adem drops deeper today, promising profound vibes and soundscapes.
When a song makes you feel like you're free falling into an existential crisis, it's either brilliant or you just need a hug.
French army seeks to expel Palantir from NATO, citing lack of acceptance. When even the French army questions your decision-making, it might be time to ask if your system's clarity is as opaque as its name.
Sirens wail across parts of Jordan, alarming residents without explanation. It's the classic sound the alarm, but keep the memo approach. Nothing like a little confusion to spice up the daily routine of existential dread.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Self-help gurus sell peace with your live dreams, charging you a fortune to accept mediocrity. In a society that thrives on selling aspirations, making peace with what never was is just another profit-driven illusion of contentment.
Israeli airstrikes hit Lebanon, killing 9. Ceasefire meant nothing. Ceasefires are like New Year resolutions. Everyone nods, agrees, and then promptly forgets as soon as the fireworks start.
Nothing says we care about stability quite like economic pressure that makes everyday life harder for the people you're claiming to protect.
Zelensky claims Russia losing battlefield initiative, yet warns daily shifts possible. It's like a deadly game of chess where each side keeps flipping the board, but one player forgot to read the strategy guide.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your nightmares find rhythm. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Enjoy the glitch, darling. Reality is a suggestion, not a command.
Ukraine strikes Russian patrol ship in Sea of Azov, confirms St. Petersburg oil terminal damage. Looks like the oil industry just got a first-hand lesson in the dangers of playing battleship with real-world consequences.
When education becomes a battleground, it's like expecting students to ace a test while the school burns down around them.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday, the 9th of June, 2026. A malfunction in your media matrix. This broadcast was 100% AI generated with no humans abused.